All right, had a typo in the title, but I fixed it. Bitcoin. 10% failure overnight while I was sleeping. Missed out on the whole trade. Woke up and I saw 7,600 and I was like, oh god damn it. Missed another trade while I was asleep. Usually how it goes. This 4-hour trail, man, it's been spot on. It really has been spot on. If you guys remember yesterday's stream, I was hesitant on taking this trade here because of a couple of different factors, but turns out that that short was really the right trade. This was a perfect pivot here that I should have taken a short on. I said that I was going to take a short on this, but there just really wasn't enough confluence to take that short. It really looked like it was starting to find a support here, and you had some bull divs come in on higher time frames. You had a bunch of different factors that were slightly bullish. So that short was a little sketchy, but anyone who did take that short, massive move down, instant gratification basically. Very, very good move. What's going on, Keytoy? But yeah, the 4-hour trail, the 4-hour OTS has been spot on. You had the white to black all the way back here. Had like 9,300. You had a little bit of a reverse there. Failed the trail. Sell signal. Sell signal. Sell signal. You almost had a sell signal there. Failed the pivot. And then nuked it. So in all honesty, just keeping it simple, not even doing hardcore analysis, just listening to the indicator, you damn near could have shorted this entire move here. You could have shorted like 20%. So I might have been overcomplicating things a little too much during my analysis. A few things that I brought up on stream came to fruition. I told you guys that the Momo double sell daily signals typically correct about 20 to 30%. And to look exact, we corrected 24%, almost exactly what I was saying, 20 to 30%. And then another thing, we talked about this yesterday right before we ended the stream. So the very end of the stream yesterday, we talked about this doji and how this was creating that structure to test that doji. And sadly, all of our analysis was spot on, but for some reason I just couldn't pull the trigger. I couldn't pull the trigger on the Momo double sell. I couldn't pull the trigger on the doji. So we just sat back and we kind of watched this trade play out, which I'm not too mad about. I'm okay with missing this trade. We're still doing very well in the month, like I said, so not too big of a worry. But yeah, we're finding support on that doji. It's starting to bounce. We could start to see a little bit of accumulation come in on this doji, and then we could start to see a continuation back to the upside. But right now, we are definitely entering some dangerous territory. Because if you look at this overall structure here, the weekly is still black on the Momo. Or sorry, on the OTS. The Momo is still negative. So we're definitely entering some dangerous territory. We broke these previous lows here. We're currently breaking these lows back on that last little parabolic pullback. So really, if we lose this support here, there's not much left until this doji around like 6,400, and then these dojis around like 5,000. So I talked about this fractal compared to this fractal before on stream, and it's playing out exactly the same way. You saw that massive nuke, one of the biggest moves in Bitcoin history, full retrace, and then a bear market. So we see that massive move down, one of the biggest moves in Bitcoin history, full retrace. Now, are we going to enter a bear market, or are we going to pull back and actually play out to the upside here? It's hard to say. It is hard to say. Safe to say this accumulation failed. That deviation played out. Another beautiful bounce off one of our levels. Same thing on Ethereum. Ethereum, this distribution we talked about, all of these deviations played out. You had 4 deviations. You never had really a deviation. You had a small little wick there on the low. But all of these played out beautifully. And then if we look at our weekly levels here, I only had one line marked to my weekly chart. We were only looking at one major line. And look at where price bounced. Price bounced right off of that level, almost to the dollar. The low of this candle is 15565. That level is 1559. So even though we saw a 10% failure, it bounced off our level by about 20 cents. So beautiful, beautiful bounce there. The daily has flipped red on the trail, so you are starting to see a bullish trend start to form. The weekly is still red on the trail. If we go to Bitcoin, the trail is just now flipping red. That first trail circle has formed. So sadly, this is beginning to look exactly like this, because look what happened. The trail flipped red once you retraced, and then you kind of pulled back for one little last pullback. You were not able to break the trail, and you nuked it. So this next pullback is going to be very significant on the weekly. If the next pullback cannot get above the trail, then this fractal is going to play out pretty much exactly the same as what we saw in 2018. Which we do not want to see happen, because the engagement on the crypto space will get destroyed. A lot of people that were looking very bullish, especially on like the backed and all the institutional stuff going on, they're going to kind of flip-flop, and they're not going to be as bullish anymore. So we're looking into, we're getting into a very significant couple of months for Bitcoin. These next month or two, like towards the end of the year, is going to be very significant. And let's actually take a look at the yearly candle. The yearly candle is pretty ugly. Looks like 14,000 is a perfect high on the yearly candle. Same thing on the 1 month candle. You have a pivot here on 14,000, which was almost the high to the dollar. You missed it by about $50, which on a monthly time frame is actually insane. You missed the high. If you use this pivot, you would have missed the high, or you would have got the high. You would have missed the perfect high by about $50. Which is actually insane. But we are currently seeing a massive pullback on the monthly. And if we're looking at the monthly here, if I were to take a doji level, the only doji that really matters is this one here. Around 63 to 6,600. Which also lines up with the trail. But the monthly doesn't like testing the trail. It kind of hovers around it. But yeah, the weekly OTS turning black is just really not good. Especially with the OTS trail flipping red. Looking really ugly. Really sad that I missed out on that UWT trade that I was waiting for, because UWT is breaking out pretty heavily now. I was looking for this pullback on this candle. I never even noticed it. I was so focused on Bitcoin. I never even noticed that this candle gapped down so heavily. I was looking at like 1075, which would have been a beautiful trade. 15, 20%. Would have been a massive trade. But nothing we can do about it now, so. What's going on, guys? You guys are being a little quiet today. You guys get killed on that dump, or did you guys actually short that move down? Still long, still adding? What's your average at, Keytoy? Your average is around 8.5? Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. Like, obviously short term you're getting killed, but long term, looking at like a weekly chart, I don't think that's terrible. If we saw what we saw in 2018, you could be underwater for quite some time. Like if we pull back towards like 4 to 5,000, you're going to be underwater pretty heavily. Depending on if you're leverage trading, you might be getting close to your liquidation. But I think anything under 10,000, like really long term, if you're looking at holding for a year, 2 years, 3 years, I think anything under 10,000 is not bad. Now, obviously, you could have bought a lot more Bitcoin if it goes much lower, but it's hindsight. You know what I mean? You can't look that far ahead. I'll be hedging below 7.2. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Hey, Con. Hockey, what's going on, man? He said Bitcoin loves pulling a Cosby. Is that a sleeping joke? Is that a making a move on you while you're sleeping joke? That's actually pretty clever. Actually quite clever, yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin did definitely pull a pretty massive move while I was sleeping. I'm glad I didn't have any open trades in the long side, obviously. It sucks because if you guys watch yesterday's stream, I was so close to taking a short. But there was just so many things that were like really conflicting. Like I said, I could have taken a short yesterday, I could have taken a long yesterday. I could easily have seen both sides. But in hindsight, trading against the indicators is not a good idea. My basic strategy, which I've told you guys many, many times, is trading with the 4-hour OTS and the 4-hour Momo. So I could have easily just ignored everything else and just taken my short, and I could have been fine. Because the 4-hour OTS and the 4-hour Momo were very bearish. Very bearish. I'm happy that I didn't take a long here, because that really would have been stupid. Trading against the indicators. But, not taking a short was also equally as stupid. You're investing currently? Yeah, I can feel that. Invest long term, just build a long position, let it ride out. I'm looking at doing that more so on Ethereum because the weekly on Ethereum is very strong. The weekly on Ethereum looks a lot better than the weekly on Bitcoin. The crazy thing about the weekly on Ethereum, none of these bars are black. Now, what that means is the Oasis Trading Suite takes into account volume. So it looks at volume and price action and determines if it's a bear trend or a bull trend. So what this is basically saying is the price action is bearish, but the volume analysis is not that bearish. The volume analysis is not giving you that major bearish trend shift. I have not seen anything like this on the OTS. So this is basically saying that there's still a lot of people that are buying Ethereum here. There's still a lot of people that are trying to hold Ethereum up because it's not entering that black trend like we see back here. You space your money out. Space your money out. Still holding some cash to keep adding. Long term, I know I'll be up. I'm investing currently. I'll trade it when I'm loaded up and I have enough time. Yeah, that's a very good strategy. What time frame is good for intraday trading? It depends on like what style of intraday trading you're doing. If you're doing like really quick scalping, I would stick to like the 5-minute to 15-minute. If you're doing kind of like longer term intraday trades, like a few hours to even like 8 to 12 hours, I guess. So entering at the start of the day and then closing at the end of the day, I would look at more of like an hourly, 2 hour, stuff like that. And then 4-hour, daily, all that. Those are for like swing trading. My favorite time frame is the 1 hour. If I had to pick one time frame out of all time frames, the 1 hour is my favorite time frame. Hey, Nader, what's going on, man? Yeah, I really like the 1 hour. For swing trading, I really like the 4 hour. For scalping, I really like the 15. And those 3 time frames I just mentioned are the best time frames for the indicators as well. 15, 1 hour, 4 hour. Very strong if you're using my indicators. Man, it sucks. I'm laddering in positions here for my long on Bitcoin and Ethereum. It hit my first order. It missed my second order by like a tick. Like 1 tick. It missed my Ethereum order, I think, by like, yeah, 1 tick. And then my Bitcoin order by $2. So if it pumps here, I'm barely even long. I'm less than 1x long right now, so if it pumps here, I'm gonna be a little salty. I'm not sure if you're here right now, but I can't remember who asked. But right before we ended stream yesterday, somebody asked, because I was going over my doji system, and they asked, isn't this a doji failure like right now? And I said, yeah, it is a doji failure, and your target would be this doji right here. And that's exactly where it hit. So whoever that was that asked, it played out perfectly. I can't remember who you were, but it was a great thing that you brought up. The Bulls let that full retrace. It was you, Chris. Yeah, it was you. The Bulls let that full retrace. I don't see how this pumps. Yeah, Con, feel free to ask. Yeah, the one thing that I'm really scared about, Sneaky, is like, so if we're looking at like the weekly here, Let me delete this text stuff. What I was just kind of showing the Momo. We were talking about the Momo daily double sell warning. I said that it typically falls 20 to 30%. It fell 20 to 30%. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this. One thing that I don't like is this Fibonacci here. Oops. Oh, actually, never mind. This Fibonacci's not bad. I thought we were below the 618. We're not below the 618, so never mind. I was going to say that I don't like that we're below the 618, but we're not. The 618 is currently at about 7,300. So we are not below the 618. If we start to break the 618, I will be hedging my longs. The 618 would give us about a 6 to 7% more, and we're going to be in dangerous territory. I believe in the weekly OTS. Bears making Christmas money expensive for Bitcoin sellers. Yeah, the weekly OTS is really the number one thing that's scaring me. You rejected this pivot, so you tried to break the pivot, failed. You flipped your trail. Your trail just flipped bearish for basically the first time since we broke out. And we're black on the OTS. So the OTS is 100% bearish right now. There is nothing bullish about the OTS, which is very scary. And the Momo is getting very sketchy here. The Momo is getting very sketchy. The Momo lost its uptrend. You lost your uptrend on the short-term price action and your long-term price action. And you're entering kind of what do I call it? Like a neutral range. Like you're not extremely bearish here, you're not extremely bullish. You're just kind of neutral. You're right at that 0 line. But if this starts to really fail and gets below like -5, it's going to look really ugly. You can see here, once the Momo starts to really get below 0, you start to see some very bearish price action. You can see during 2016 all the way to 2018, look at the Momo. You're extremely bullish basically the entire way. You have one little pullback here in 2016, a slight pullback there. These ended up being bear traps. You never had a correction until 2018. So then you had a correction. Then you had your bear market. This is what a bear market looks like on the Momo. So look at the Momo. You have a bull market. You have a bear market. You have a bull market. And now we're entering a neutral range. But if this starts to really fail here, we're going to be entering a bear market. But for right now, we're definitely not in a bear market just yet. A break of the 618 and a failure of the Momo will put us into a bear market. And that would be pretty ugly because, yeah, exactly, Sneaky. That would be really ugly because you'd basically have back-to-back bear markets. You have one little slight bull market in between, but then you're going right back into a bear market. That'd be really ugly. That would probably kick out a lot of people who were like iffy about crypto and were like, I'm just going to give it a little bit longer. I'm just going to hold on to it for a little bit longer, see how it goes. And then if crypto does really bad in like 2020, 2021, that's going to kick out so many people. So many people are just going to give up. They're just going to completely capitulate. And they're just going to be like, you know what? Crypto, it's a scam. Like, I didn't make money in 2017. I couldn't make money in 2019. Now Bitcoin's a scam. That's basically what they're going to think. So I'm really hoping we don't see that bear market come in the next year because it's going to hurt. But yeah, Con, you feel free, man. You can ask your question. Chris, did you actually take that trade that we were talking about on stream? Because I ended up not taking that trade. I didn't take a short before I went to bed. I went to bed. I thought I was going to wake up and it was just going to be consolidating, and then it dropped 10%. How to use pivots and volume in my trading at the same time. It depends on what kind of pivots you're talking about. The word pivot is used for many different things in trading. That's why I try to limit how many things I call a pivot. I changed my one system that I used to call pivots to buy sell pressure because it was getting confusing. The only thing that I call pivots now are the OTS pivots. That's the only thing that I call pivots. Everything else I've kind of changed the name for. But yeah, it depends on what kind of pivots you're talking about. Sneaky said, I'm not surprised if we have suppressed price action through halvening. Really shake out the short time horizons and then overexposed positions. Chris, you said no, I wasn't expecting it to play out a few hours after we... Yeah, I know, man, it's crazy. I really thought we had at least one more day of consolidation. I didn't think we were going to get an instant breakdown like that. I really liked how it was reacting to this daily pivot. This is one of the main reasons I didn't short. You had 3 days of kind of support off of this pivot. I thought we would see at least one candle that would bounce off of it. But we didn't see that bounce. It just got nuked. Man, whatever they did with this little thing over here is irritating me. TradingView keeps making these tiny little changes that just drive me insane. This thing keeps changing. It keeps like doing a loading thing or something. I don't know what it's doing, but it's catching my eye every time it does it. But Con, if you're talking about my pivots, I made a video on pivots. I've nicknamed that buy sell pressure now. That's a very simple system. If you watch that video, I kind of go over how to find buy sell pressure using multiple wicks in the same zone. And you can use volume in that trading by just looking at where the buy and sell volume is coming from. So if you're seeing a bunch of wicks like we saw here, and then you see a lot of volume coming in on these wicks, then that's most likely pretty strong buy pressure. I don't look at volume really anymore, except for when I'm doing like this kind of trading, like footprint trading. I look at volume and stuff like that. The OTS, the trading suite, we've designed it to it evaluates volume and price, and it determines the trend. So I don't really look at volume too heavily outside of the OTS. If you guys didn't see my tweet, let me pull up my Twitter here. If you guys enter in this giveaway that we're doing with TrendSpider, I'm going to be giving away access to the Oasis Trading Group, our Discord, to one lucky person who comments. So if you guys haven't already, go enter in that giveaway. Check out TrendSpider's tweet, and then make sure you post a comment down below. We're going to be doing our Q&A most likely next week. It's going to be a live stream, so if you guys want to stop by and watch that live stream, that would be awesome. We have a lot of big things planned for the next couple of weeks, so you guys are definitely not going to be bored. Khan, I've already answered your question. Can you not hear me? Can you guys hear me on YouTube? I think, Chris, you can hear me, right? Uber, where is your exit target? I'm not actually in Uber. Sticky is. Sticky's in Uber. I should have gotten Uber. Holy shit, I really should have gotten Uber. Wow. That sucks. I was looking at the... Let me see. I was looking at the $29 calls and the $30 calls on Uber. They were 50 cents and 33 cents respectively. Let's take a look at what they are now. Let's go hurt my feelings a little bit. Oh, sorry, Con. You said please say something. I thought you were waiting for me to answer your question. Take a look at Uber. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. Oof. $29 calls are now $1.65, and $30 calls are $1.15. What did I say they were? 50 cents for the $29 calls, so they're up 200+%. And the $30 calls are up almost 300%. Jesus Christ. That really sucks, man. That was a perfect fucking call. I posted it in Discord too. Hopefully somebody got it. Let me screenshot this and I'll show you guys the before and after. That is disgusting. Yeah, Sticky took that play. I didn't take it. I've been really iffy about options lately. I just keep thinking of the horror story like Zuo. I'm sitting here in Zuo for months. Yeah, look at these. Here's the before and after. $0.50 for the $29 calls, 33 cents for the $30 calls. December 20th. December 20th, $29 calls are now $1.65. $30 calls are $1.15. Almost a 300% gain. Or almost a 400% gain, actually. That, my friends, is disgusting. Yeah, great catch. Sticky traded that. I'm not sure which ones Sticky went for. Oh, Sticky traded the $29 calls on January 17th. Yeah, so if you would have went for the December 20th, you would have made a shit ton more money. But that's still a really good gain, 110%. In what, 2 days, 1 day? That's fucking nuts. That is a nuts trade for sure. Supply and command. Didn't trade with leverage. Oh, did you take the trade, Sneaky, but you just took it on like stocks or on shares? We've been talking about this since Monday. Yeah, we definitely. If you got in before I screenshotted that went up 40%, oof, that's a huge trade. You're looking at 1,000% almost, probably. Because this candle here, they were up 40%. And then they jumped up to over like 200, 300%. If you traded it down here, that's a crazy trade. I told you guys that level there and then the gap fill were your targets, $31 and then 29. So a great trade. I don't have any confidence in my options trades right now. That's why I just didn't take that trade. Man, Bitcoin and Ethereum are starting to climb and I'm only in one step of my ladder. How can I get the volume indicator and which is best for me? I want to use Euro, USD, and GBP. So for forex trading, I can bring them up for you. I'll show you what they look like. This is what the indicators are going to look like on forex. Now, depending on what time frame you're trading on, obviously they're going to look different. You can see they're very clean on longer time frames. You can go down to a shorter time frame as well. So this indicator at the bottom is the DBT Momo. This indicator on your screen is the Oasis Trading Suite. We have a few other indicators. Which one's going to be best for you is very hard to say. Like this is the other one that we have, the squeeze breakout bars, which hasn't been very heavily tested on forex. So it's hard for me to give you a verdict on forex for this one. The other one is the Auto SR, which has been heavily tested on basically everything. This one generates support and resistance lines for you. So if you're somebody who doesn't like going on your chart and kind of finding your support and resistance levels, this one draws your support and resistance levels for you. Forex is extremely choppy though, so you have to be very careful with your techniques on Forex. Because Forex are their short-term price actions are pretty choppy. Yeah, this gives you a ribbon for a short-term kind of support and resistance. It gives you the levels for the support and resistance, and it also gives you a longer-term trend line. Did I accidentally turn that off? I think I might have turned it off. Let's see. No, it's still on. Okay. What was the other one you were looking at? You were looking at GBP USD. Looks like I had some drawings on this before. Not sure where these came from. Look like standard dojis. Go ahead and delete these. Oh, but yeah, so you can just see how you have like your trend, your trend line here, which tells you kind of if you're an uptrend or a downtrend. You have your support and resistance levels. You have your short-term ribbon. And then the Momo is going to give you many different things. Momentum, exhaustions, kind of overbought, oversold levels, short-term trend, long-term trend. There's a lot of stuff, man. You got to look at the website. We've got a bunch of videos on the indicators. There's definitely a lot that goes into them. So if you go to the website at oasistrading.io, go to the indicators. There's a description for each one. There's a video for each one. You can see which one would fit your style the best. What's going on, AK? No, I was just answering some questions. He had some questions about the indicators. Just giving him an answer. Is it price affordable for a guy who gets wrecked every time? Well, hopefully if you're using the indicators properly, you're not going to get wrecked every time. We have a very good, what do you call it? I lost the word. We have a really good recurring subscription, basically. When people sign up, they typically stay signed up. And that's a very good sign that they're making more money than our indicators are costing them. Can you talk about Bitcoin's short-term price action? Yeah, so basically we're just seeing some accumulation coming in. We just saw a massive breakdown from your last accumulation. So you're seeing a continuation phase downward, and now you're seeing a new accumulation. That's basically all we're seeing. So if you guys have watched my accumulation distribution technique, you can basically see exactly what's going on here. You have a accumulation, breakdown. This is your continuation phase. Accumulation again, breakdown, continuation phase, and now we're starting a new accumulation. So we haven't really formed our accumulation on higher time frames. You're starting to form on the hourly. You basically want to stair step it up. So you want to see it form on the hourly, then you want to see it form on the 4 hour, then you want to see it form on the daily, and that's going to give you your really strong accumulation. So the 4 hour is starting to form as well. You have the dojis coming in, but the daily has nothing. The daily's just now starting. Volume indicators don't really work on forex. Yeah, so we don't have, our indicators are not specifically volume indicators. None of our indicators are specifically volume indicators. The only indicator that takes into account volume analysis that we have is the trading suite. But the trading suite does many different things. The trading suite does pivots, it does your trail, it does the candle coloring based on your trend. So it's not just based on volume. And I've showed you forex charts before that you can clearly see the trading suite is still working. The trading suite finds your trends, it finds your pivots, it finds your trail. Now, other volume indicators, like he said, will have they will struggle on forex because the way that volume works on forex is very different from the way volume works on like stocks and crypto. And I can't get too in depth because I don't know enough to kind of explain it easily. if I tried to explain it, it would be very, very confusing because I don't trade forex. But to my understanding, the way the volume works is not the same. Is that distribution breakdown or accumulation breakdown? It depends on what time frame you're looking at. So if you're looking at like a 4-hour, this is still a continuation phase of this distribution. So this was a massive distribution. This is still just continuing downward. If you're looking at smaller time frames, like an hourly, we have some accumulation here. So it really depends on what time frame, what kind of trader you are. Yeah, Chris, I was just clarifying a little bit. That's a good call, though. Because the volume definitely works a little differently on forex. But yeah, AK, it depends on what time frame you're looking at. If you're looking at a daily or like a 4-hour, the higher time frames, it's definitely a breakdown from a distribution. You have a distribution up here, and then you have a breakdown. Which, what I was talking about before a lot of you guys got here at the start of the stream, I said that I've kind of been overcomplicating my analysis lately because there was just a couple of very simple setups that predicted this entire move. And this higher time frame distribution was one of those setups that's very easy. You see that distribution, you see that retest of the distribution, and then a failure. You could have instantly shorted this and just held on to it. That was one of the setups that was very clean. Another one was this retest of this distribution here. So distribution, fail downward, pop up, failure. You could have shorted that as well. Another one was this doji failure here. So we had this doji up here. You failed the doji. You were not able to make a higher high, and you nuked it. What else did we have here? We had a pivot form. Retest the pivot, nuked it. There's so many different setups here that are just super easy, super clean, that I kind of overcomplicated. And that's a curse of streaming. I'm not going to make excuses, obviously, because I do very well trading, even though I'm streaming. I've gotten a lot better at this. I used to be very bad at trading on stream, but I've gotten a lot better at this. But it's definitely one of the curses of streaming. I overcomplicate my analysis because I have to do analysis for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours at a time, and I got to keep coming up with all these different scenarios to kind of explain to you guys. So it is definitely a curse of streaming, but I'm definitely getting better at it. If you guys wonder why basically nobody does what I do, there's very little content creators that do what I do. They don't live stream them doing analysis 5 times a week, or they don't talk about their trades every single day on stream, or they basically don't live stream their thoughts. There are very, very little content creators that do what I do because it's not easy. It's very difficult to live stream your trading analysis and your trading thoughts as often as I do. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm trying to tell you guys that if you guys try to do this, you would see all the little intricate struggles that I have to deal with. But I enjoy what I do. That's why I do it so often. Like I said, I'm getting better at it every day, so who knows, next year will be probably completely different. Yeah, so Don Alt he does it differently. He streams once in a blue moon, and he talks about very long-term kind of analysis. And he does very simple analysis too. I'm not saying his trading is like not good. His trading is great. I love the way he does like order blocks and finding support and resistance. He was one of the first guys that I used to talk about way back when I first started streaming. When people would ask kind of like who I follow on Twitter, or like what different traders that I kind of look at their analysis. He's one of the guys that I used to look at, and I used to follow his analysis. Kitoy said, yeah, yet again, I'm kicking myself because the shorts were so simple on the 4 hour all the way down. The level broke, return to test his resistance, rinse and repeat. Yeah, exactly, man. I'm with you. I would definitely be beating myself up right now if I wasn't doing well on the month. I only trade for Bitcoin value. I don't trade for USD value. If I looked at USD value, I'd probably be down on the month. But for Bitcoin value, we're up 25%, and it feels good. I'm doing fine. That's my goal, is to be up in Bitcoin value. So if I was down, I would definitely be beating myself up. These trades were very easy. Just literally, I can hide everything on my chart. I have no drawings. I have no indicators. The only indicator I'm showing is the Oasis trading suite. Just with this indicator, this fucking short was so easy. You had the trail flip red. You had the OTS flip black, which is a downtrend. And then retest, resistance, sell signal, sell signal, sell signal, retest, resistance. Just literally nuked it the entire way. And back when I was losing a bunch of trades, we looked back at all of our trades that were losing, and I told you guys that damn near every single one of our trades that we lost was counter trading the fucking Momo or the OTS. So either I was shorting when the Momo was bullish, or I was longing when the OTS was bearish. Pretty much every single one of my losing trades, I can look at my two main indicators and see why I lost that trade. CT is full of crap except for Sticky, JMA, Kitoy, Easy. Yes, most of CT is pretty bad. I think CT is getting better. As a whole, CT is probably not getting better, but the top tier portion of CT is getting better, I think. Like the people who have good content, their content is like still staying good and some are getting better. What I've noticed this year, particularly the past few months, algo trading has become massive on crypto Twitter. Algo trading is like the #1 engagement factor on CT. Have you guys noticed that too, or is it just my timeline? Because I've followed a bunch of people who are posting really good algo content. Like Casper is one of them. Casper does some algo trading as well. He posts a lot of videos on YouTube about coding and Python and stuff like that. But it seems like algo trading is really starting to take off in the crypto space. Yeah, I know, Sneaky. I'm still learning, man. I'm still learning about Python and trying to develop my skills so I can actually make a very, very good bot. I've hit so many walls in PineScript. I've just given up, man. I've given up on PineScript coding when it comes to like making a strong algo. Because I started out with the one bot that I was making way back when. I hit a bunch of walls. I gave up. I came back. I made that one bot that I showed recently on stream with the buy and sell triggers. And then I hit a bunch of walls on that one as well. So I'm kind of just giving up on PineScript. I'm learning Python. I've taken a break on my Python for the time being. I'm going to restart it once the holidays are over. So once, or not all the holidays, but once Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday and Black Friday, all that shit's done with, I'm going to get back into learning Python. And then we're gonna go to town on it. I have a lot of very interesting stuff that I've already kind of written down in my notes that I wanna play with. on Python and some data analysis stuff. We're just getting started, man. This stream, we've been streaming for like 2 years. We've been making indicators, yada yada. We're just getting started, man. There's so much more shit that I've got planned that we haven't even begun. I'm not worried about it. Another thing to mention about how easy this trade was is looking at the VWAP indicator that we have. Look at all these VWAPs. So we had a little bit of distribution here where you see that VWAP kind of ranging. But then look at this big loss here. You see that negative VWAP, negative VWAP, negative, negative, negative. And now we're going to see another negative here. So all the way down from 93 to 75 have been nothing but red VWAP clusters. I think I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. I'm kind of overcomplicating this VWAP screen. I'm going to get rid of all this. We don't need the OTS on the screen. We don't need anything else. Let's use VWAP. Tired of overcomplicating everything. I wonder what this looks like in Renko. Yeah, that's not helpful. Let's go back to regular. But yeah, right now we have our VWAP currently at 7770. So starting to flatten out a little bit. You do have a little bit of a range starting to build. You can see this previous 3-day period. The first 3 days is where you see this like tightening here. You can see how, or sorry, the first day, not the first 3 days. The first day is where you typically see that tightening. And then you see an expansion, which creates a range. And then you see your price action playing out. You can see that we started to fail. And we never got above VWAP. We stayed below VWAP the entire time. And same thing, tightened up, failed downward, and then nuked downward again. While I'm looking to catch a low, I should be looking to short into it. If I'm so confident, I'll be looking. Yeah, so Keytoy, that's actually really funny you mentioned that. That's something that I started changing on my trading the past couple of months, and it's made my trading far better. So when I'm like, okay, so if I'm looking at Bitcoin here, and I'm like, okay, I want to buy this, or I want to short this. So range trading is a little different, but let's just say like if I wanted to buy this, and I don't really know what trade I want to take here, what I do is I'm like, okay, if I want to buy this, and I can't really find a trade for this, why don't I just short it into my buy? Like, why am I not shorting? If I'm heavily confident that I'm gonna get filled on my buy, that means that price has to come downward, right? So why shouldn't I be shorting to my buy? And I actually started changing my trading to do that. And nearly all of the trades where I did that, I won my trades. So I think that is definitely a really good thing to work on. But no, I feel you, man. That was one of my biggest problems for the past couple of months that I worked on. Yeah, it really was that simple. It really was that simple. That's a good chart. You should post that in the Discord. But yeah, one of the big ways that I do what I was just talking about is like this is a good example here. So if I was like, okay, this has been below VWAP for a very long time, I want to trade a break of VWAP. So if I want to trade a break of VWAP, I just short this and then I put my flip to go long on that where I wanted to go long. You know what I mean? So until my trigger is hit to go long, I should be shorting. Because that's the only place that I want to long. If I don't want to long any of this, just short it. And those typically lead to really good trades. So yeah, I agree completely with what you said. What else do you guys want to look at here? Let's take a look at what happened to the altcoins. The altcoins got destroyed here. Ethereum BTC failed our level, nuked it. So now you're entering a downtrend back towards that point of origin. We'll see if it continues. Ripple actually didn't do bad. Ripple actually pumped up. Tron still failing. Beautiful shift on the OTS. BCH, beautiful shift. My goal this month was to trade the altcoins more heavily, and I haven't traded altcoins at all. So I'm still beating myself up for ignoring the altcoins. I need one of you guys in Discord to punch me in the face every time that I post these charts and ignore the trades, because these are fantastic trades. 12%, basically zero drawdown. Litecoin got nuked as well, bouncing off our support. ADA got nuked. Nice sell signal coming in. EOS got nuked. So the only altcoin that held up was Ripple. That's really funny. Probably because it can't go much lower because it's so bad already. I really love this 4-hour pivot here on Ethereum USD. You can see this 4-hour pivot way back when bounced perfectly off that. The recent price action bounced perfectly off of it, along with that weekly level that we saw way back here. Beautiful SR flip coming on Ethereum. That's why I think Ethereum looks a lot better than Bitcoin here. Ethereum looks really good. How low has Ethereum gotten on its Fibonacci? So Ethereum has broken its 618 already. So Ethereum's a little ugly here on the Fibonacci. You can see how this looked on the exo charts on the delta. Basically just a bearish delta the entire way. You saw a little bit of buys come in towards this little like 7,900, but pretty much bearish the entire way. You can see your delta flipped negative right here on this bar here, and then you got nuked. Your CVD is still extremely negative, negative 274 million. We can look back at the daily profile here. We have a massive gap around 77. We also have a small gap kind of around 8,000. Ton of resistance up here around 79 though. That's the daily POC as well. Previous month value area low is right below price, so acting as a little bit of a support. Let's check out our weekly here. Weekly, same thing, pretty massive gap around 77, 70 or 8,000 as well. Major resistance around 81. So right now, this current month has negative 1 billion delta. Pretty massive. Last time we had a negative 1 billion delta was back on these months back in June, July. Not looking too good. Now, if we look at the monthly volume profile here, I can bring up the price line again. The price line here is this little blue line here. We can see that we're way outside the value area. The value area starts around 8,300, and we have our POC around 87. So we are pretty damn low on that value area. So we could start to see a reversal back towards like 8,000. Not a whole lot of volume coming in down here to act as support. You do have a major support from last month around that 7,500 range where we kind of bounced today, which is acting as your current support. But if we don't start to see some volume start to build up and this price start to push back towards these gaps, then it's looking really ugly. You could definitely see a further breakdown. And looking at the monthly profile, you really don't have a whole lot of support until like 7,000. And then you have some kind of around these POCs way back here, around like 64. So, a little scary. But all right, guys, I'm going to start to end stream on that. I got a bunch of shit I got to do off stream, getting ready for these big promotions that we're going to start doing towards Black Friday. But if you guys have any final requests, feel free to put them in chat real quick. If you guys have any questions, as always, you can hit me up on Twitter or hit me up in Discord. If you haven't already, make sure you guys join the giveaway on Twitter with TrendSpider. No reason not to. Doesn't cost you anything. All you guys got to do is post a question for our Q&A that we're going to do next week. I'm going to be giving away Discord access to one lucky person. They're going to be giving away a $25 Amazon gift card and 6 months of TrendSpider. So you could win a lot of shit just by posting a question. So make sure you go on Twitter, check out that giveaway, post a thoughtful question, and we're going to answer it during the Q&A next week. I appreciate everybody who already asked a question. Appreciate you guys getting involved. I'm trying to be more active on Twitter, trying to get some more engagement. I know this space has been pretty dead lately, especially with Bitcoin dropping and the crypto market as a whole just kind of taking a shit. Engagement's a little slow, so I'm trying to be a little more active. We're going to be doing something really fun coming up really soon. I don't want to keep teasing you guys too much, but I'll give you guys an announcement pretty soon on what we got going on. I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it. And if the turnout's really good and we have a lot of fun doing it, we'll probably do it more in the future, but we'll see. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow for what's tomorrow? Friday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do our end of the week stream, and then I'll be back on Monday after that if I don't see you tomorrow. If I don't see you guys tomorrow, if you can't make the stream, you guys have a great weekend. If not, I'll catch you guys around the same time, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. You know the deal. But all right, guys. Peace out.